Pathologic 3 has been out for about a month now, and I have somehow already played it for over 100 hours.
I played over 100 hours of this thing. I get to make a video about it! That was the deal!
Since I've put that much time into it, I want to talk about it in some way. But the thing is, I'm stupid, and there are already the video essays by other people that analyzes the characters, and I'm too stupid to do any of that. But there is one thing, Pathologic 3, that I can talk about, and that is movies. Because just like how Pathologic 2 used theater framework to frame the game, Pathologic 3 does the same about movies. Daniil Dankovsky isn't just a prickly prick anymore. He is also a film bro. A question came to me. If Daniil Dankovsky had a Letterboxd, what would his top 4 movies be? To answer this question, we first have to figure out what time Pathologic 3 is set, because I want to be realistic about this answer. I'm not coming in here and saying that Daniil Dankovsky's favorite film is like Oppenheimer or something. This is gonna be time consistent, okay? I'm gonna assume that Daniil has access to like every European movie produced at least. First of all, in Pathologic 2, there is a bonus quest where you can repair a little children's toy, and that toy is a zoetrope. But that doesn't really help much, seeing as zoetropes have been around since 1833. Another thing that only helps a little is that in Pathologic 3 we do actually see at least one film strip that is in the mirror room, where you can turn on a projector and see a little film of the man questioning you, and that film is not in color, and I'm gonna assume that Pathologic 3 takes place before colored film was invented, so that puts it between 1935. That film projector in the mirror room, I did look at it and try and compare it with the projectors of the time, and I think it looks mostly like a film strip projector, which was an especially popular projector in the Russian area that was used around the time of like 1920s to like 1930s. So in estimation, I would guess that Pathologic 3 takes place somewhere around the middle of the 1920s. Now let's get into the actual movies.
Camera obscura. Camera lumina.
In Pathologic 3, there is exactly one movie that we know that Daniil has canonically seen, and that movie is The Trip to the Moon by George Méliès. We know this because in a conversation with Mark Immortal, that cunt, in an attempt to show off his capital swag, Daniil can say, "I've seen a film where people go to the moon. The moon had a human face." And this movie was huge. It is still important to today. They showed it to me in film class. It's that type of important movie, you know. But I don't think that Daniil Dankovsky would put The Trip to the Moon on his favorites lists on Letterboxd, because I think he would consider it too mainstream. Daniil Dankovsky is nothing if not pretentious, and he wants to be seen as smart and as an expert, and he wants to make it seem like he is learned enough to enjoy obscure movies that not every old pleb knows about. Therefore, I think the first movie that Daniil Dankovsky would put on his favorites lists on Letterboxd is The Impossible Voyage from 1904 by George Méliès. This is George Méliès' spiritual sequel to the trip to the moon. And it is also about a group of jolly scientists going on a trip to a planet in the solar system, and that planet has a human face. It is basically the same movie, but it's less mainstream and therefore more cool for Daniil to put on his favorites lists. This is like when instead of putting Fight Club or Drive on his favorites list, a guy instead puts Nightcrawler on his favorites lists. You get the vibe.
Camera obscura. Camera lumina.
The second movie that I think Daniil Dankovsky would put on his favorites list is Frankenstein. Not the James Whale version from 1931 that I oh so dearly love, though I do think that Daniil Dankovsky would enjoy that as well. No, since the game takes place before the 1930s, I think Daniil Dankovsky would instead have Frankenstein 1910 on his favorites list. It's a very condensed, short adaptation of the book. There has also been 2 other Frankenstein adaptations, one from 1915 called Life Without Soul, and one called Il Mostro di Frankenstein from 1920. But both of those have been lost to time, so I don't know if they're actually good. I don't really think the adaptation is important. I just think that Daniil would love the story of Frankenstein, especially its movie version, in pretty much any adaptation. I think the story of a scientist with immense ego and hybris trying to, make people come alive again and to, defeat death is a pretty interesting story to Daniil, and I think he would enjoy seeing it, even though obviously in Frankenstein it doesn't go so well for the scientist. I think Daniil, when seeing it, would be like so drawn in by seeing like some of the topics that he is so passionate about being shown and talked about on screen that he would just brush past that part, and he would think, yes, but of course me, Daniil Dankovsky, will succeed in fighting death. I will not be like this foolish Victor Frankenstein man. I also think that Daniil would be spooked but intrigued by the special effects used. I think they burnt like a fake corpse and then put that footage in reverse to make it seem like the corpse was, being created rapidly. And I think Daniil would be very tickled by any and all special effects and like editing tricks and all that. I don't think Daniil has read the book though. I'm not sure he can read literature. Now at this point in creating this list, I came to a fork in the road, because Daniil Dankovsky is obviously a very different character starting the game and ending the game, so I kind of wondered which Daniil Dankovsky am I making this list for. And ultimately I came to the conclusion I would make one version of the list for Daniil as he was before he went to the town on Gorken, and one after he went to the town on Gorken.
Camera obscura. Camera lumina.
So, moving on number 3, that I think... Wait, I'm sorry. The mental image of Daniil Dankovsky coming back from the town on Gorken, like skinny from barely eating and like haggard and bloody, and just like immediately opening his laptop, and the first thing he does is update his Letterboxd. Movie number 3 before going to the town on Letterboxd is Metropolis. Not to be confused with Megalopolis.
So go back to the club.
Directed by Fritz Lang, this is the longest movie, I think, at 2.5 hours. And trust me, some of those minutes are pretty boring. Metropolis is the ultimate Simon Kane movie. It's like all about this super modern not quite utopia, but utopia for some people. It's like blinding. It's like everything people during the 20s thought the future could be. There are robots, there is amazing architecture, scientists coming up with insane solutions. I think overall Daniil Dankovsky isn't that deep of a moviegoer. I don't think he's the type to like dig into and think about the philosophical implications of a movie that he has watched. He is more of a feelings type of guy, like a spectacle type of guy. Honestly, if Daniil Dankovsky was alive today, he would have loved Avatar, okay? He would have loved it for the special effects and being like, wow, a computer can do that? Computers are amazing. Science is amazing. That's the type of guy he is. And therefore, I think he would just be glistened by Metropolis before going to the town on Gorken. After going there, I don't think he could like look at Metropolis in the same way, because he would have realized that, oh shit, the lower class are being exploited and they are getting killed by the upper class, and we should probably do something about it. And that robot is still really cool, but I got too much PTSD from the town on Gorken to like be as enamored by it anymore.
Camera obscura. Camera lumina.
Movie number 4 before going to the town on Gorken is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, directed by Robert Wien. This one is from 1920. This movie probably has the most direct influence on the game itself. Spoilers for the polyhedron section in the game, but the moment I stepped into the polyhedron and shit went black and white, I went, oh, okay, we're in the cabinet of Dr. Caligari land now. We're in German Expressionism town now, okay. As we know, during his student years, Daniil Dankovsky ran around in a little bit of wild circles, together with Andrei Stamatin and all that, and I think that Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was hot shit in those circles, and I think that Daniil would just be tagged along and like in the crowd with the energy be like, yes, Dr. Caligari. But then after going to the town on Gork, we know how Daniil's mental health plummeted. Spoilers for the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari if you haven't watched it in the last 106 years. But the plot twist of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is that the whole story is actually made up by the main character, and he's actually a raving madman in a madhouse, and he's just making up the whole story. And I think that Daniil, after going to the town of Gorken, wouldn't be able to watch the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari in the same way again, because I think that Daniil would be a bit afraid that he is actually a madman who made everything up. I mean, we see this all throughout the game. He's like doubting himself. He thinks that he is hallucinating a bunch of shit. He thinks he's hallucinating the Shabnak and all that. So I think that this movie would just hit a bit too close to home.
Camera obscura. Camera lumina.
Movie number 3 after going to the town on Gorken is After Death from 1915, directed by Yevgeny Bauer, and it's about this Russian guy who is so deep and focused on his studies, he lives for his studies, that his friend, like, I don't know, maybe a friend named Andrei or something, one day finally forces him out of his apartment, and they go to
the club.
The studies guy meets a woman, and she like falls in love with him instantly, and she's like, oh, spend time with me, please talk to me. But he's so focused on his studies that he just blows her off, and a few months later he learns that she died by poisoning herself, and after that he becomes like obsessed with death and specifically obsessed with her, and he wants to learn everything he can about her, and he keeps seeing visions of her, and he just wishes that he could go back and like reach out to her and be less of just focused on his studies and his books and science. Of Daniil and specifically his relationship with Eva, I think that this movie would hit close to home to him. I think he would cry a little to this one.
Camera obscura. Camera lumina.
And now for the fourth and final film that I think Daniil Dankovsky would put on his favorites lists after Going to the Town on Gorkon. We have Chess Fever from 1925, directed by Vsevolod Podovkin and Mykola Shupkovsky. So, this is another Russian movie about chess and about how a chess tournament comes to this town and the whole town goes crazy with chess. Even the babies are playing chess. Everyone is playing chess. Except for this one woman who hates chess, but then she learns to love chess. And it's just a fun, silly comedy that features cameos from like real Russian chess player celebrities of the time. And if we learn anything about Daniil in Pathologic 3, it's that he loves chess. And I also think that after going to the town of Gorkon and surviving a plague, that Daniil would be able appreciate having a good, relaxing time watching a comedy film. So I think that a little bit of his pretension would wash away. He would still be very pretentious, of course, since he still has the Impossible Voyage on his favorites lists. But a bit of his pretension would go away, and he would learn to appreciate a good, fun comedy. And also I think he would, react in the same way that we react to like Captain America lifting up Thor's hammer to seeing that chess cameo. Oh, and as a bonus, if Daniil ever forced Artemy and Clara to sit down and watch movies, I think that Artemy would really like the Golem, and he would get a chuckle out of man with a movie camera. But ultimately, I don't think Artemy would be super into movies. I also think that Clara would love Häxan, which is an old Swedish like fake documentary. It's really cool. And I think that all three of them would enjoy watching Buster Keaton together. 75% of all American silent films are estimated to be lost by the Library of Congress, and an even higher percent of Soviet silent films are lost. Not only because the film material that was used at the time was highly flammable, but also because of the many wars that Russia was in around the time. So the most realistic answer to what Daniil Dankovsky's favorite movie would be is probably a Russian 20-minute short that has been lost to time and that none of us know about and will never know about. But this was at least my guesses. I guess I will now edit in an edit of his Letterboxd account before Going to the Town on Gorkon and after Going to the Town on Gorkon. And that's that. Thanks for watching. Don't catch the plague!